Hello, and welcome back to Toledo Aquaponics. This is my day 30 update, and finally my new grow light is in place here for my indoor system. So, what I was currently running on is a Hydroplanet T5 array. It's a 4-foot high output T5 array. It has dual switches, so I can run two of the lamps at either time, so I can kind of control them, so that way I can put two veg lamps in and two bloom lamps in, and then I can run just the veg ones to grow everything, and then the bloom ones when everything's actually ready to kick off. And it works really well. It's a nice, lightweight, really robust system. Some people have had some problems with them, but honestly, I really like it. I've been running it for a little while now. Haven't had an issue. However, I have a couple new products from Agro LED that I've been trying to get my hands on. The first of which are these. Those four little tubes sitting right there are 4-foot T5 LED bulbs to be able to replace, and I'm actually going to run them in. I have a bunch of these Sun Blaster 4-foot T5 high output arrays. I'm probably going to swap out these LED. I'm going to put these together with the T5s in, get kind of some good readings, then swap in the LEDs and see what kind of difference it makes. I know the LEDs will have lower cost to run and lower heat output, which means I can get them closer to the plants, which means I can get more light to the plants more effectively. So the LEDs I know are going to be a better option, but I kind of want to see how much of a difference they make. And I also want to get my par meter on them and kind of see how strong of a light difference is between a vegetative LED lamp and a vegetative T5. And then kind of my grandiose that I've been waiting for is also by Agro LED. This is the Diowatt 720. They make a smaller version of this, as well as they make a big brother to it, the Diowatt 440. This is honestly hands down an amazing lamp. It is it is heavy, I will say that. Compared to a lot of your other LED fixtures, this thing's got a complete aluminum frame. If you here, I'll shut the light off so we can get a better look at it. If you look, it's got a nice big aluminum frame. It's got these plastic end caps, which are actually open to allow airflow. It has a ton of cooling fans along the top, and then it will run on either 120 or 240. And basically, it's just a quick adapter switch on the other end of this cord. It's got a nice little smart control system to be able to deal with that. And then the underside looks like this. So you have a really, really great spectrum, kind of cross spectrum of that I can get with this lamp. I can run it where I had it now, which was vegetative, which is all my blue LEDs, which is extremely bright. It looks bright on the camera, it's even brighter in person. And then if I want, I have another switch for my bloom, which kicks on all the rest of the LEDs. And that is insanely bright. I am going to need sunglasses if I'm working around this light. Most of my other LEDs, I can get away with it, but even the ambient light that this puts out is going to be ridiculous on the bloom. I do have a couple issues with the light. The biggest one I have is how the lamp actually attaches. It has 4 little standoffs here. Let me turn it back off. Basically here, here, there, and there on each side. And a matching set there that they screw in, and it comes with this really nice wire. And it allows me to go to that clip, and it's really great. However, it's also kind of long. It's probably, I don't have a tape measure on me right now, I don't think. No, but it's over 12 inches of distance. So right now I actually have my clamps maxed out to as high as they go, and I'm only that high above my plants, which means especially those pea plants and stuff are going to cause me problems with this. So I will have to come up with a better solution to raise this light a little bit more. It really shouldn't be too hard. I can expand this a little bit more if I need to, as well as I can get creative with my pulley system and kind of loop it over this top bar to be able to get me just to eat up even another 6 inches or so, as well as I can also do something to kind of help shorten these cables a little bit. And I'm going to reach out to the manufacturer and see if they have anything else that they recommend, or if maybe they have shorter cables. But it does create a really great stable platform this light is not, it's nice and stable. I don't know if you can tell, but typically you can get lights to really swing around. This thing's held in place really nicely about it. It has some really great cooling on it. It does not run extremely hot. But it is extremely bright. So I cannot wait to see how these plants respond to it. And like I said, I also have a bunch of just standard T5 replacements that I'm going to test out. I'll probably put those in the outside system. And a brief update on the outside system. I am definitely, well, I'm definitely ready for fish at this point. I went back to resuming to dosing the system with ammonia once a day, and my nitrites are bottoming out within 24 hours. So I am more than ready for fish, and that's kind of a good thing because they just shipped out today. So I'm ordering blue tilapia from Lakeway Tilapia. I'm ordering right now 20 of them, which right now with my current 55-gallon tank, assuming everything else runs just nicely, I can run probably about 15 of them or so in that tank. So I'll have to either take the other 5 and either add my other tank, which I do have a secondary tank that's not set up. I will eventually have to attach to be able to deal with it, and I'll probably split the tilapia half and half. The other thing I have is I'm planning on getting a IBC tote, a 275-gallon tote. I found a guy local here that's got one that basically his wife wants it gone. So I'm going to get my hands on that and turn that also into a fish tank and kind of go from there. And I'm going to probably end up moving the tilapia into there. I was playing with the idea of koi, but I need to reach out to some of the areas, some of the like pet shops and things in my area to see if, they want koi or not. If that's something that they'd be willing to do. If I'm going to do that and I want to go like the commercial route, I will need to get a permit because I am Ohio based. I will need to get a Class A permit, but it's $50 a month kind of thing. $50 a year, sorry. For a permit for tilapia, and then I don't know if I actually need a permit for the koi, but for any sort of aquaculture in Ohio, you need a permit. A Class A permit is $50. Class B permit's $100 and requires an on-site inspection. And that is something that I haven't talked about yet. That is something you need to look into. Some places koi you can't have koi. They're considered basically not quite malicious, but they're not species that you're even allowed to keep. And sometimes you'll have like outrageous fees for having them. I think one state, if I was when I was reading it, was like 15 grand per fish if they caught you raising koi. So it's not always the best option. But tilapia for the most part are pretty good. They used to be a Class B fish a couple years ago, but they moved them to a Class A, so it's only a $50 permit, no inspection or anything like that. So when I want to go to opening things up to like the public or whatever, if I want to decide I do want to go that route, which I probably won't, but if I do decide I want to raise ornamental fish or something like that for ponds and things, especially if I want to raise fish that are a little bit on the bigger side for people that want the bigger fish for their ponds, which is one of the reasons I want to look at the IBC tote, because one, it'll be better for my tilapia, but two, if I decide I want to do that, that gives me the room already to do it. And like I said, I found a guy right now that's got one that wants it gone by winter because his wife wants to be able to park in his garage kind of thing. So I'm more than willing to take it off his hands, clean it up real good, make a few modifications into it so that I can use it as another fish tank, and then it's just a 4 foot by 4 foot area that, it's going to give me roughly probably 250 gallons of water added onto my system, which should work out pretty well. And then as my system grows, I'll be able to add more fish and go from there. I will, like I said, koi I really want to get, but on the other hand, koi can grow up to 3 feet. They are pond fish. You want, typically for koi, you want 1,000 gallons per fish, and that is something that a lot of people don't realize. Like goldfish and things like that and some of the other related families will actually only grow to like the size of their tank. Some goldfish will not. Koi is one of those. Koi will keep growing, and if you try to keep them in a smaller tank, you will cause health problems. You will make them sick. You will do all sorts of horrible things to the fish, and I do not want to do that. So I'm thinking a 250-gallon tank basically to raise koi into, to get them big enough that then I can put them into ponds to see if there is a market for people that want that. If I can find a market for people, or like a place around here that wants large fish for ponds, that's something I can do. If that's not something they want, then that's something I'll have to look at, because like I said, one koi wants 1,000 gallons of water, and that's a lot. That's, I mean, we're talking pond levels, and I don't have space for a 1,000-gallon pond, honestly. So the IBC tank's probably going to be my good kind of go-to for now, and that'll give me my options that I need. Like I said, I'm not quite sure if that's what I want to do, but that's just some of the things I'm considering. So I'm very happy with this light so far. It is extremely bright. I do need to get another timer down here so that way I can set this on a day and night cycle, because plants technically want the night cycle. They want that little bit of rest to really help them out. Right now they're just running 24/7, and that's potentially going to cause a problem. I'm going to end up probably doing the same thing to my aquaponics system outside, which is why I have that light rail up in the ceiling. I'm going to, assuming I can find one that's rated correctly, and this Titan Controls Apollo 9 that I have here should actually do it. I'm going to put it out there and have that to be able to run all my lights. So that way I'll have an 18-hour day and night cycle kind of thing for most of my plants. And then for blooming plants, that way I can control that a little bit and go to like a 12-hour cycle for like when I get down to like blooming and stuff. As for the plants in here, they've only been in here for a little bit, but they've already gotten a lot bigger. These guys here, especially those those sugar snap pea plants, grow ridiculously large. Those were in my propagator just the other day, and that one's already grown taller than the propagator would have allowed. So I'm kind of just running through that. The kale's doing pretty well. Some of the other, I have like some other stuff down here, like I have some lemongrass, chives, things like that. My butter crunch lettuce seems to be doing okay. My chives aren't doing too hot, I don't think. At least I have one that fell over. The other ones seem to be okay. Here, let me flip this light off and see if we can get a better look. I have this one dude, oh, there we go, that fell over. I think he's toast, but the rest of them look pretty decent. Some of them I have that same kind of thing when I did with the ones outside. Some of them just don't look like they're doing too hot. But I mean, like, look at that pea plant in the back. Like, it's already well above what my propagator would have allowed, and it's only been in here a couple of days. So I think those guys are going to do really well. Right now I'm doing a relatively balanced nutrient. I mostly just have Flora Duo, part A and B, mixed to my 20-gallon reservoir. If you want to look, just for the people that are curious, this is my Blue Lab combo meter. So my pH right now is sitting about 6.2. My ppms is about 1060. I need to dilute that probably a little bit here soon. I haven't done my top off for the day. And my temperature is 65, and like I said, that's pretty much going to stay there for the most part year round. It might get a little cooler in the winter, and I'll have to deal with that. But luckily, with this basement and how it's set up, there's actually a separate gas heater for the basement to kind of like stop pipes from freezing, in case that might happen. So because this is sitting on the ground, I may get like an insulating pad for it to get it up off the ground, so that way it's just dealing with air temperature at that point and kind of go from there. So I might get like a styrofoam pad or something to sit this on. But so far the system's doing great. I'm really happy with this, and I'm going to kind of just keep plugging away at it. Like fish are due in about 3 days, so they'll hopefully be here Thursday. It's currently day 30, so that should put them there probably day 33, depending on shipping. That's supposed to be 3 days, but I don't know if USPS is going to count today as day 1 because it shipped out early enough. I won't know that until probably later tonight. But that's kind of what I'm going to just run around. So I've been monitoring this system. My rock wool is still a bit damp. Yeah, it's still a bit damp. Granted, I did irrigate only about an hour ago. I may need to like spread out my drippings a little bit, but for right now I'm going to kind of leave it where it is. It's not really going to do too much damage by irrigating too much, because rock wool doesn't really hold on to moisture. Like, it does, but it also lets it flow through relatively easily, so it's not very restrictive medium. So if I'm irrigating too much, all I'm going to do is flush kind of stagnant nutrients out of the blocks, and not really going to do a whole lot of damage, and that's going to help pull in a little bit of oxygen and everything else. So it shouldn't really be too bad. My thyme over here, I don't know how well they're going to show up. Not very well. They're doing pretty good. couple of my flowering plants back here are doing okay. They're just kind of starting. And then I also added in a small little propagator upstairs that I'll probably cover tomorrow, as well as it's actually what I use is for a cloner. It's just a little 1 gallon bucket with a couple 2-inch holes in it for 2-inch net pots. And that allows me to do like really quick cloning, so I can do a DWC cloning system with that. And then all you basically just need is an aerator. Right now I'm using it actually as a propagator to start a couple of those tickle me plants, those kind of plants that you touch them and they close up. They're some of my favorites because they're interactive. Kids love them. And it's great because I'm going to probably take one to my office. My lighting in my office is okay. I'm going to probably supplement with a grow light like every night kind of thing after I leave. I'm going to probably get it like an Apollo 7 or something just to kind of control a grow light. So that way I can have that flip on for probably like 12 hours a day kind of thing, just to kind of give it a little bit extra light, because my par at my desk is about 60 or so, which is really low, but it's a lot better than some offices. We have other offices where it's just not even readable. It's just 0. So 60 at least would be a little bit to the plants, and then I can supplement with grow lighting overnight, so that way it's still getting some light. And I'll give it a little bit of a break too. I'll probably put in like a 4-hour like night cycle or something somewhere to kind of give the plant a little bit of a rest. But I just kind of want something to have at my desk at work, because people complain that, I mean, I do IT for a living, so people complain my desk is so bland because I don't have like little geek stuff everywhere. And plants are something I like, and it's something simple that I can, I mean, it's literally a 1 gallon bucket and a little grow light that I can shove up there, and I just need a bubbler. I mean, I can basically just build a little do-it-yourself desk hydroponic system, and that's what I'm going to do, and I'll cover that in a later video. But this is kind of the update of my irrigation system. Fish are on their way. They're supposed to be due here in about 3 days, so hopefully they're here Thursday, probably Friday at the latest. I did get Aquaponics grade from Lakeway Tilapia. They have a couple different grades, and please check those guys out. They have a great selection, but you can get a lot of your food grade stuff. It's a little bit more expensive, but they're all sized to the same. So like if you want to start out and you want to have one colony, or like if you're going to start out multiple systems, you can get a couple of sets of those, or even just one set and kind of separate them out. And that way you can then kind of like order like a small set 1 month, another small set another month, so that way you can, or like wait a couple months, and so you can stagger them out, so you can rotate your fish. So that way for the people that are going to be harvesting their fish, they have a constant ammonia kind of round out. That's actually one of the reasons I went with the aquaponics grade system. The aquaponics is actually a mix of sizes to kind of keep the ammonia levels as constant as possible, and it's also one of their cheapest options. It's $29 for 10 fish, or I think it's like $40 for 20. So you can get a bunch of fish, and then you can also get feed from them that will cover you not all the way through adulthood. Like we won't be able to get them all the way up to a pound, like to harvest size, with like some of their kits. I mean, you can buy the food from them and do that, but you at least can get their starter kits to get your fish up through the early stages for tilapia, which is what you want. The end goal is to get them off of the small, granular, really expensive food and into the almost like dog food size pellets as quickly as possible. So you can buy a nice little small kit from them, which is actually what I did, and I'll cover that when that actually comes in. It has some of the, I'm going to be using Purina Aquamax. That's actually what they recommend. That's what they sell. And that is actually what I'm going to use, because that is something I've used in the past, and I really am happy with that. You have a really small sinking granular pellet, a slightly bigger one, and then you have like more of like your traditional like dog sized like kind of pellet, dog food sized pellet. And it basically, they give you just enough food that you get a couple pounds of this, a couple pounds of that, and then a couple pounds of the final product that you want to get them to. So that way, it's you're not buying basically a 50-pound bag and then using up 45 pounds and having 45 pounds of the food just sitting there because you only used 5 pounds to get them, because that's honestly all you need. Even for 100 tilapia, to get between the sizes, you're only going to need about 5 pounds of the first one and about 4 pounds of the second one. So you don't need a big 50-pound bag unless you're going to have like a massive system with more than 100 tilapia. But even at decent stocking densities, which is about 4 gallons of water per tilapia, I mean, even my 20 fish that I'm going to have, I need 75 gallons of water for. So a 100 gallon system, you're going to need about almost 400 gallons of water for 100 tilapia. So I'm going to kind of go with that. So thank you.